Hello everyone! Let's take a look at Microsoft's September Patch Tuesday. This time it is quite compact. There were 63 CVEs released on Patch Tuesday day. If we add the vulnerabilities released between August and September Patch Tuesdays, as usual they were in Microsoft Edge, the final number is 90, much less than usual. Urgent 0, critical 1, high 41, medium 44, low 4. Exploitable vulnerabilities. There are no vulnerabilities with public exploits yet. There are 3 vulnerabilities for which there is a proof of concept exploit according to data from CVEs. Elevation of privilege in Kerberos, CVE 2022-33-679. An unauthenticated attacker could perform a man-in-the-middle network exploit to downgrade a client's encryption to the RC4 MD4 cipher, followed by cracking the user's cipher key. The attacker could then compromise the user's Kerberos session key to elevate privileges. Elevation of privilege in Azure guest configuration and Azure ERC-enabled servers, CVE 2022-38007. An attacker who successfully exploited the vulnerability could replace Microsoft-shipped code with their own code, which would then be run as root in the context of a guest configuration daemon on an Azure VM with the guest configuration Linux extension installed. This would run in the context of the GC policy agent daemon. On an Azure ERC-enabled server, it could run in the context of the GC, ERC, service or extension service daemons. Elevation of privilege in Windows GDI, CVE 2022-34-729. An attacker who successfully exploited this vulnerability could gain system privileges. But the likelihood that these exploits will be used in real attacks seems low. Exploitation in the wild. There are 3 vulnerabilities with a sign of exploitation in the wild. Elevation of privilege in Windows Common Log File System Driver, CVE 2022-37-989. An attacker must already have access to the ability to run code on the target system. An attacker who successfully exploited this vulnerability could gain system privileges. This vulnerability affects many versions of Windows. There are patches even for end-of-life versions. In addition to this vulnerability, there was a bunch of elevation of privileges in Windows with no signs of exploitation in the wild. For example, elevation of privilege in Windows kernel, CVE 2022-37-956, CVE 2022-37-957, CVE 2022-37-964. Security feature bypass in Microsoft Edge, CVE 2022-2856, CVE 2022-3075. Edge vulnerabilities are actually Chromium vulnerabilities. This is the downside of using the same engine. Chrome vulnerabilities also affect Edge, Opera, Brave, Vivaldi, and so on. IP packet causes remote code execution. Remote code execution in Windows TCP IP, CVE 2022-34-718. An unauthorized attacker could use it to execute arbitrary code on the attacked Windows computer with the IPsec service enabled by sending a specially crafted IPv6 packet to it. This vulnerability can only be exploited against systems with Internet Protocol Security IPsec enabled, so IPsec and IPv6 are evil. But seriously, it's bad that this is even possible. And that's not all. There is more. Remote code execution in Windows Internet Key Exchange, IKE Protocol extensions, CVE 2022-34-721, CVE 2022-34-722. The IKE protocol is a component of IPsec. used to set up security associations, relationships among devices based on shared security attributes. An unauthenticated attacker could send a specially crafted IP packet to a target machine that is running Windows and has IPsec enabled, which could enable a remote code execution exploitation. Although these vulnerabilities only affect the IKE version 1 protocol version, Microsoft reminds that all Windows Server systems are vulnerable because they accept both version 1 and version 2 packets. Windows DNS Server Denial of Service. Denial of Service in Windows DNS Server CVE 2022-34724. This bug is only rated important since there is no chance of code execution, but you should probably treat it as critical due to its potential impact. A remote unauthenticated attacker could create a denial of service condition on your DNS server. It is not clear if the denial of service just kills the DNS service or the whole system. Shutting down DNS is always bad, but with so many resources in the cloud, a loss of DNS pointing the way to those resources could be catastrophic for many enterprises. Spectre-BHB. Memory corruption in ARM processor CVE 2022-23-960. This is yet another variation of the Spectre vulnerability, this time Spectre-BHB, which interferes with a processor's speculative execution of instructions mechanism. In other words, the probability of its use in the real attacks is extremely small. The danger is somewhat theoretical, but almost all Patch Tuesday reviewers paid attention to this vulnerability. The link to the full vulneristics report is available in the blog post. And this is it for today. Please subscribe and leave your comments. Bye.